Hi everyone, welcome to Just Vibes with the Click podcast with your boy Peace J. And today we have a special guest for such a deep topic. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi everybody, my name is Ommy. I'm currently a student at Southern New Hampshire University. I'm in my final year. And I also work part-time at an NPO organization in Dean. Yeah.
We like it. So guys, today the topic is, why are you single? Yeah. Apparently there are plenty of fishes in the sea, but people choose to be single, which isn't a bad thing. But I feel like we just want to dive into why people would rather choose to be single than be in a relationship. And guys, if you feel like you want to say something, don't hesitate just to come onto the podcast and just say something. The podcast is for the peoples. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion here. So with that being said, Ommy, why are you single?
Okay, that's actually a question that I get a lot, from friends and family. Like, why am I single? And to be honest, truthfully speaking, I feel like I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be in a relationship, And if I had to elaborate more on this, I'll feel like I'm a human being, right? And I'm a human being full of self-pity, pride, boastfulness, obsession with myself and my own needs. So I don't think I'm ready to put somebody else's needs above my own, to be honest.
Yeah.
People don't acknowledge that nowadays. People want to be in a relationship, but they actually don't notice that they're not willing to compromise or just to think about other people apart from themselves. And I don't think I'm ready for that, to be honest. Yeah, that's the reason why I totally think I'm single, and it's not something easy to admit, but then it's the truth, because I'm that prideful person. I don't like saying sorry. But I know I have to, even when I'm wrong, but it's hard. And I don't think if you get what I'm saying. I don't think in a relationship when I have to just not care about the other person's feeling, And I wouldn't say I'm completely obsessed with myself, but I prefer myself more than other people. So I like myself. I like buying myself things. I like taking care of myself. And for me to think of taking care of another person that's outside my family, I feel like, so it's not easy to put my needs above anybody else. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. It's that little bit of sacrifice, you need to give a piece of yourself, to someone.
Exactly. And also, I also think that I'm gonna get I don't wanna seem too religious or whatever, but I also feel like if I can, sometimes people are not humble. To be honest, there are times when nobody's humble, or where even people that I know that claim to be humble are not humble. Even sometimes I'm not humble myself. So I feel like if I'm not humble to God, how can I be humble to my spouse? Because God, he's according to what we believe and what the Bible says, he's the bridegroom, we're the bride. The church is his. And so if we're not humble to our own bridegroom, which is God, how can we be humble to a future spouse that we might have kids with,
But isn't that a far stretch though?
I don't think it's a far stretch, because, being in a relationship, right? For me, as I view it, I'm talking about my perspectives, my views, and my beliefs. People can have their own. But for me, as I view it, I've been single for a very long time, not because they're not options, just because I choose not to. You know why? Because being in a relationship is an act of sacrifice and service towards somebody else. And that's what God does. God sacrificed himself. God, he did so many things for us that he's like a father and a husband and all those things, that if he can do that for me, I should also be able to do that for somebody else. And if I'm not able to do that, then I don't think I should put myself in a position whereby I'm just going to hurt me and another person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like I have that mentality that I'm saying that if I didn't listen to God here, who is the bridegroom, what makes me think I'm going to listen to my spouse here? You know, when God says don't do this and then you do this, or you know what I'm saying?
I get you, but I still think it's a far stretch, man. Because okay,
Okay.
okay, check. I understand where you're coming from, right? I understand that, but then your spouse isn't God. You know?
I understand that your spouse isn't God, but then if you look at why someone needs to be in a relationship, I don't see the point of being in a relationship with someone who I don't see a future with, or being married to them. Like, I feel like it's a complete waste of time for both you and the person. You
That
get what
is,
I'm trying to say?
that
Feelings
is true.
are gonna be hurt, feelings are gonna be broken. You know, people, you're gonna destroy somebody mentally. You know what I'm saying? Especially if that relationship was ended so badly or so toxic, or the person gave you years and years of their lives, and then you just ended it, right? So I don't see myself being in a relationship with somebody if I don't see marriage along the line. Like I'm telling, if I'm gonna be in a relationship with somebody, I'm gonna tell you I see marriage along the line with this person, and there is no way you can marriage or relationship as a Christian without God being the forefront. That's why I don't think it's a stretch. You know why? I don't think it's a stretch. First of all, we all know that God is the head of everything, even in a marriage. So if you're gonna be with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're gonna say one day I want this person to be my my husband or my wife, and then you didn't even consider marriage, you didn't consider how God feels about it or where God is in that scenario, then I feel like it's just a waste of time. It's gonna lead you to sin, it's gonna lead you to unnecessariness, and I'm telling you, it's gonna end badly. Like, majority of these relationships out there, it's just superficial things, you know? It's just people are looking outwards towards the person. Like the other day, I was watching Date My Family Fam.
Yeah.
All the girls want a guy without a car. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's their preference, but are you telling me you're gonna let maybe a good guy go because he doesn't have a car? Are you serious? Are people so superficial and into material things that they overlook certain things? That's why even the Bible says that God looks inwards while man looks outward. And I can see inwards. He can. So if I feel like I'm my future spouse or praying for somebody I'm gonna be with, and if God knows that this person is not right for me, he's gonna tell me. I believe he does tell people what and what not to do. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get you.
So
I get you.
I honestly don't. I feel like it's just how I see it and I believe it. Even though sometimes it's not it's what can I say? It makes me uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Why this? Why this way? Sometimes when I read his word, or when I pray maybe for my spiritual spouse, I feel like there are certain things we as people, not even as people, as Christians, I'm just gonna say as Christians, that need to be aware of. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, because if you look at nowadays, you see couples, Christian couples, or even people that are not in a couple, that say they want someone they can pray with, they want someone they can do Bible study with, they want someone they can go to church, and they're looking towards those things in the future. Now, you also need to ask yourself, why are you looking at it in the future if you're not doing it right now? So you're telling me if you're not doing those things right now, do you think you're going to do it with somebody else? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you'll be saying, I want someone to save with, I want someone to travel the world, if you're not doing that thing with yourself right now, if you're not going to church, doing Bible studies, serving, whatever you want to do with your future spouse, trust me, you won't do it right now because there's no consistency in it right now. And that's it for me. I don't want to look forward reading the Bible with somebody else. I want to do it right now. And when I get that person, we do it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, you don't want to just start like, what's this? You don't want it to be a thing of, I'll start it when we're together, because then it will be like, it'll be hard to keep up the consistency with it, because now you're with someone else, you know, a whole different human being who now you have to, like, you know, see how they are, how their habits fit with your habits, and now it's a whole thing, you see.
That's very true. I like even like the example, to be honest, when I look at marriage examples, I don't look at people outside. I look like biblical example. I look at Isaac and Rebecca, you know, those kind of thing, Ruth. And if you see, like with Isaac and Rebecca, Isaac didn't choose his wife. His father chose for him. But For the father to know that his son is ready to get married, obviously God had to instill that thing in him. You know what I'm trying to say? Exactly. Because when Abraham sent the servant, said, go look for a wife for my son, Isaac was not even thinking about a wife. He was busy in the field tending his father's crops, servants, doing things, worshiping God, praying God alone on himself. He wasn't there saying, I'm going to look for this person. Because I feel like when you are looking or craving or focused on finding a relationship, I feel like you are not ready to be in a relationship. Honestly, I feel like a relationship comes when it's so unexpected, when you never expected it to come right in your face. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because even Adam wasn't tending in the garden saying, I'm waiting for a spouse. He didn't even think of it. I don't even think he knew there was such thing as a woman coming, or there was such thing as marriage coming. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, but if you check in the Bible, he was working, he was doing his own thing, he was focusing on himself, he was focusing on being with God and loving God. You know what I'm trying to say? And then God gave him, even though they did what they did, but it's still examples as people I feel like we need to look up to. Because if you go looking for somebody, hey guys, you're gonna find somebody who's gonna lie to you in your face.
But Ommy,
you know what I'm trying to...
But Ommy, but thing is, you have to, let's be realistic. You have to go out there. You have to put yourself out there.
I understand that.
You need to go to certain places to meet people.
I understand that.
You can't just sit home and be like, God, yeah, let a Rebecca hit my doorstep, Nah, dude.
And I'm not saying you just sit at home and then do nothing. You know what I'm trying to say? I even read this thing where this guy says, if you're looking for a spouse, you're not gonna sit. Okay, not saying, let me say they're looking. If you're looking for it to get married, you're not gonna sit around and find them in your bedroom or in your living room or in your whatever, and then you expect that person just to come, or God to just put them in your face like that. I'm not saying that's how it works. I'm saying you can go out, you hang out with your friends, you can go to the mall, you can go chill with a couple of guys, you can go to an event here or a couple of girls. But I'm not saying don't be that person who's so focused that on looking for a relationship that you forget about anything else. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like you're just so on trying to find that relationship that you forget about other things. You just said, I want this person. There's those people who can't stay single. I have friends like that who cannot constantly stay single. They feel like if they stay single, they're just gonna feel lonely and they're gonna feel sad. They want somebody there to be taking care of them. I feel like if you have that, you're gonna be constantly looking around for somebody to be with, and you're gonna constantly be meeting the wrong guys because now you're used to somebody telling you what you wanna hear. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, I feel like that's kind of sad though. I feel
that's how our generation is, to be honest. If you see, everybody wants to be in a relationship. They want to ship somebody. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's times, you need to know when you need something, I feel like, and when you don't need something. Away from like the biblical side of it, as times you can see that right now I really do not need somebody in my life, sorry. But then you can see that somebody's stressed of school or work, and then they say, I need a boyfriend. Then they start putting all that stress on that person. That person starts, doing the exact same thing. And then it's not just we come into this toxic relationship where someone saying, you're not giving me enough time. You're going out with these girls. You're going out with your friends. You're always partying while I'm staying here doing things, Like all my friends, I think, let me not say all. Let me just say like 75% are in relationships, we matriculated years back, and people are now like getting into relationships. I've got friends who are married, and good for them. That's amazing. But when I see how some of them switch partners, like they changing underwears these days, it's like, what are you doing? Not to be judged, but guys, why are you putting yourself in that position where you're gonna get hurt, where you're gonna get mentally destroyed? You know what I'm saying? Because relationships, especially those that I feel like are not from God, or they're not godly approved, or whatever you can say, I feel like those are the ones literally destroy people mentally. Like you see people becoming depressed over some guy. Like, guys, and then people will be saying he's from the streets, she's from the streets. Why you put yourself in that position? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I totally get you, man. I totally get you. Yeah, that is a wild. That is a wild realization. No lie.
Yeah, like it's you know when you sit and you really think about, you know, when I sit
Yeah.
and I really think I'm really not with somebody, I honestly just I sit and I think about it strong, and am I really ready? Me, I'm not ready, please.
You
To
know,
answer that question.
You know what now? Oh, this is gonna be wild for me to say this now, but not a lot of people know this, and I feel like this is me being vulnerable right now, right? So I remember the one time, it was a Sunday. I was, what's this? It was a Sunday, and I was just raking up the leaves in the front, right? And then I remember like I prayed like, yo, Lord, please give me someone who you feel like is for me, like please just take control of everything right now, and just give me someone who you approve, right? Did this guy not make me single the next day? Okay, in context, I wasn't like, when I prayed that prayer while I was raking the leaves, I was in a relationship. Monday I was single. I was like, yo, so vele this man is serious.
So I feel like that was, for me, it's funny that happened to you, but the fact that you prayed, don't you think it acknowledged something that says that you probably can't find the right person without God intervening?
Exactly.
Because you probably won't see the red flag without somebody who knows everything about everyone would. That's why people don't usually notice when you pray. Let me say, whatever you're praying for, your spouse, a job, money, whatever it may be, even if you don't acknowledge it directly, you acknowledge indirectly that you need somebody else who knows better to help you with this, because you know you don't. So for the fact that you prayed, you probably realize that, no, man, there's no way I'm gonna know if this person I'm with or I'm going to be with is gonna be like this without somebody helping me. That's why you went to the most amazing source of guidance, which is God himself. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
For the fact that you broke up with the person, or the person broke up with, I don't know how it happened, but for the fact that happened, I feel like it was a way of saying that you can have better, or I'm gonna bring you somebody who's gonna better you, but not make you forget about me. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, because if I'm thinking about somebody I'm gonna be with, I think about, is this person really gonna stray me from God? You know, there's that scary thing whereby you're scared and you're like, is this person gonna stray me from God, or am I gonna be reading the Bible with this person? And I'm saying that you can never know, because people lie, and you never know when somebody's lying. You know, you can never know. That's why so many people here, they get this lied to and cheated to in relationship. Because now, you know, me, I'm just looking at in a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
Because the word says you have to look for the kingdom of God first and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. You know, when I read that thing over and over again, I realized that he just doesn't say all. It doesn't mean like health, a house, a job, money. I feel like it also means as a partner. You know, especially those that desire to get married so much. Like, if you seek God first and his kingdom, then everything will come to you. Because if you're in a relationship and it diverts you from God, then I'm telling you, it's just gonna go into a whole different mess, to be honest. Because first of all, we are taught the most fundamental things in a relationship. We're taught how to love. We're taught how to we're taught the most fundamental things for a relationship from God and His Word. We're taught how to love. We're taught how to respect, self-control, obedience. You know what I'm saying? We're taught those things first from God before we even get, or when we are going to church, or when you're reading your Word. We're taught those things slowly, but we might not realize it. But we're taught them. So that when there's a time we want to be in it, or we get to be with somebody, we can at least exert those things to that person. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because you see people not being obedient to their spouses. You see them struggling with lust. They have wandering eyes and hearts everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And somebody told me, when you're in a relationship, your problems won't solve themselves anymore. Just because you think you're gonna have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or you're gonna be married, doesn't mean your problems will be gone. Doesn't mean you won't last over other people. That doesn't mean you won't have financial problems or wandering eyes. And people always think that if I have a relationship, this person is going to look after me, going to take care of me, all those things. And someone told me that it doesn't mean that all those things are gonna go away. They might come more, 10 times more. You might even start lasting more. And I feel like those things, we learn to deal with them with Christ before we're in a relationship. You get me, fam?
Yeah, I get you. I get you completely. And just to touch on to what you said initially, you never, I feel like you never know, as you mentioned, you never know the red flags because you're in the situation. So me and my friends, we always say that, this is what's happening. This is what we see. You can't see it because you are in the situation. We're not in the situation. So we're seeing the bigger picture. You get me?
I do get you. Outside sources see it. You can't see it because you're still in La La Land. You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
Listening to those things, and trust me, I've been in relationships, like I think high school. No shame, no like shade to those guys and whatever. I love them dearly. Some of them we've made up with friends. We talk here and there. We just say, "Oh, how are you? You good?" Things like that. But I realized then that men, I know that was not it, Shem. I was putting myself in situations where I would be mentally, physically exhausted. You know what I'm trying to say? Like everything that those people did, let me just say those guys, I don't want to mention names, would drain me physically and mentally, and just drain me. Like I'm a person, when I'm like, I was in a relationship, I would like give everything into it and forget about everything else. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Forget about everything else. And this one, now that I'm older, I realized that was a bad thing to do. You know what I'm trying to say? You give everything else, like, I feel like as a person and as a woman, when you're in a relationship, I feel like you shouldn't forget about everything else. And I did that to an extent that it was so terrible that when the relationship was over, it like broke me mentally to the extreme. And now that I'm older, I realize that even though I went through that and there are some regrets there, I feel like that was a lesson learned, to be honest. I feel like those were I feel like God probably put me, I'm not going to say God probably put me in those situations, because I put myself in those situations, but God that turned that thing into something that I can realize that, no, this is not what a relationship looks like. This is not how you should be treated, or you should treat others. Because I was also not treating the guys right. You have to acknowledge sometimes you're the fault. I was probably the fault, right? And now that I'm older, I feel like it's him telling me, this is how you're supposed to be treated. This is how you're supposed to treat them, or you're not supposed to be in this relationship because you are not focusing on me as your Lord and your Savior, but you're focusing on worldly things, which was pleasing your flesh and being with these guys who just didn't benefit you or benefit you becoming closer to me. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And I realize that,
Oh man, that's sweet. That is sweet. Not a lot of people can come to that realization, but it's just sad that we have to get hurt to realize.
That's we don't realize it when we're in the situation. It's maybe after we're hurt, after many years, that it comes to us and like, wow, and also when I spoke to some of those guys, I spoke to some of them. I think one of them also, I think out of all of my people that I've been with, there's only one that I can say it's weird to say this, but it's true, guys. This is true. He's like a brother in Christ. Can I say that? I know it's weird to say it, ne? But it's true. There were times where we would pray together after we prayed for like our sins that we did, you know, and we prayed for it because we felt like we hated each other, and it just didn't make us better persons, and it also made us stray away from God, because we used to go to church, like not together to church, like separately with our mom. Suddenly everything started changing, you know what I'm trying to say?
No, what do you mean? Like,
you've never been in a situation whereby you like, what can I say, you re-encountered somebody you had something with, ne?
yeah.
But then in a bigger situation, it was a situation whereby you both realized that no, what we were doing was wrong. We shouldn't have done that. And we asked for forgiveness from each other, and then we prayed about it. I have been in that situation, and it was only with one of them. And when that happened with me and this person, I can tell you now, peace. There is no hate. To be honest, I don't want to sound like I'm perfect, which I'm not. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But there is no hatred at all. There is no bitterness. There is no. I can contact him and say, "How are you doing? How, are you good?" And he'll answer same politely. You know that, like, it's that type of relationship that you need to, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like there was that acknowledgement that we hurt each other, and we need to forgive each other in ourselves, and we need to ask God to forgive us, because what we were doing when we were younger was not right, especially to the other person and to God, because we completely blatantly forgot about him. You know what I'm trying to say? And then when we acknowledge that, I'm saying there was like to be honest, there was a weight off my shoulder, because if I can be honest with you, there was a long time where this guy had the most huge effect on me, even when we were after the relationship. He had this huge effect and huge, what can I say, shoulder. In Christianity we call them, I don't know, soul ties. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, soul ties.
There was this thing, and when I learned about soul ties last year, and when I learned about it, I realized that maybe that's why each time this happens with this guy, I just go wrong, because like, he's that guy that just, you know what I'm trying to say, shook me to my core. And then when we both realized that, this when we realized, no, we need to do something, because we're coming back to each other and just bringing more toxic, you know, whatever you can call it, toxic vibes, whatever. Kept on doing that over and over. From like, how old am I now? I'm 20. So like from like 4 years now, it's been the same. It was the same story with this guy. 4, yeah, same story. And then when we realized that, oh man, it like helped us so much that even I don't feel that weight, that condemnation that I used to feel. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I don't feel it anymore. Yeah, and I feel like as people, sometimes it's the little things that count. You know, when somebody hurts you, you need to forgive. You know, when a relationship ends badly, you need to forgive, because you're gonna carry that into your next relationship. Then you're gonna end up seeing pain. Then you're gonna carry it, and then you're gonna keep saying, "Yo, this guy did this to me. This guy did this to me. This guy." You just have to forgive. He did it. Move on. You probably also did something that he forgave, but you just don't realize you did it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So you just have. Because it's going to affect you in the long run. You know, when I learned about this thing called soul ties, guys, my eyes were changed. I was literally changed to the point that it didn't hurt me anymore. Those past things didn't hurt me anymore. I don't know if I can make sense. And it made me happy to be a single. It didn't make me feel like I had to go back to them as a rebound. Because you see so many people going back to their exes as rebound because they feel like they can't be alone. And I realized I didn't have to go back to them as a rebound over and over again. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get you. Oh man, you're hectic. So do you feel like the reason why like relationships don't work is because of the fact that people are doing them wrong? From what you said, do you feel like the reason why people are bouncing from person to person is because they are going about it in the wrong way?
Truthfully speaking, I might not know exactly why. I don't know the exact reason why people do what they do in relationships. I don't know. I'm not an expert in it, but from my experience, why I feel like it's that, because to be honest, something maybe physically or mentally still attached to you and that person. Maybe that's why you still going back to them as a rebound. Maybe that's why you feel like. Maybe that's why you feel like they're your next option, or your next. I mean, not your next. They're your option you can still have in your life. You still keep them there. Just, if I get bored, I'm going back to this person, or to this person, or to this person. That's my experience. I don't know about other people, but I feel like it's because somehow some things I don't understand fully, but from what I've learned both in my experiences and from the Bible, I feel like somehow you might have still been connected to that person, maybe physically, emotionally, mentally, so fully, and then you need to break it, or you need to ask for forgiveness. Because once you start asking for forgiveness for the things you wrong to that person, even if they don't ask you what is this, forgive you, or they also don't say what they did to you, as long as you acknowledge this happened in this relationship and I'm sorry about it, but I want God to be able to heal me from this trauma, from this mental exhaustion, from this hurt that I experienced with this person, or that I did to this person. I feel like that's when everything comes back into place.
Okay.
So that's what happened. I'm talking in experience. That's what happened to me. I don't know about other people. Other people, it could be a different story, to be honest. Some people, they could be rebounding with somebody who's the father or the mother of their children. It could be a totally story. It's not the same with everybody. But for me, this was my experience. This is what I went through. And when I realized that, no, I need to ask for forgiveness, or I need to pray for forgiveness, or I need to maybe say sorry to this person, say sorry to that person, and say this, and that. Even if they don't know what they did wrong to me, or they don't accept my apology, as long as I know that I acknowledge what I did was wrong. And I think with all of them I did that, except one who I can't find out wherever the person is, but it's okay. But I think with all of them,
leave them alone.
I think I did that with everybody. I even prayed about it so that I don't feel like there's still a weight on my shoulder. You know?
Damn, that's deep. Okay, so as a listener, right? You guys probably might want to hear part 2, and best believe we are going to do a part 2 soon, very, very soon. So we've come to the end of this episode, and I'd just like to thank Ommy for joining us, and she'll be back for part 2. And I'll just like to say thank you to the listeners for listening. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to this podcast, to this episode even. And if you have any feedback, like just message me, or if you want, you can message Ommy too, all is welcome. But yeah, guys, thank you. This has been Just Vibe with the Click podcast with your boy Peace J and your special guest Ommy. And thank you guys for listening. And if you do like it, please share. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.